So I recently took a little trip from home to school, and when I got in my car, I noticed something interesting. The odometer was at exactly 19,950 miles, and knowing that my trip would be way over 50 miles, I knew that very early on into my journey I would hit 20,000. When I first got my car, it had exactly 40 miles on it, so almost every one of those miles is mine. I mean, with the exception of letting someone else drive my car, I drove all those miles, and even then I've never let someone drive my car without riding along with them, so I've at least experienced every single one of them, and that's exciting, right? I mean, 20,000 miles. Wow. Thinking how cool hitting this milestone would be, I decided to film the last 10 miles leading up to the big 20,000. It would probably be a good time for me to make a public service announcement about filming and driving, but all I can say is you should do as I say, not as I do, though as far as I know, there's no actual law pertaining to this action. Okay, moving on. So I watched as the numbers got closer and closer to 20, but then I got to thinking. You see, I was originally going to stop filming when it hit 20,000, but then I got to thinking, what's the real difference between 20,000 and 20,001 miles, and what makes the former so much better? I mean, when you think about it, 20,001 miles is a greater accomplishment than 20,000 itself, so why was I so much less excited about it? And why was I so much less excited about every number that followed, even though each is greater than the last? And when you think about it, each is infinitely greater than the last, because in between every number lies a little infinity. So what is it about big whole numbers that gets us so excited, and why can't we be more proud when we overcome the little infinities? Now, as someone coming fresh off of finals week, I can't help but blame the American grading system for this, because they really have made the odd numbers seem obsolete. Like when you get an 83 versus an 82, the letter grade you receive and the GPA points you get credit for is exactly the same, which is kind of ridiculous, because if you'll remember, 83 is literally an infinity greater than an 82. And then they're also the ones that decided to divide letter grades up by 10 exactly. I mean, you've never heard someone say something like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot for an 87 on that test, because that's exactly how much I think I'm capable of. No, never in my life have I heard someone say they wanted a letter grade not divisible by 10 or on a rare occasion by 5. Sorry, as you can see, I'm still a little bit bitter about finals week. Allow me a moment to calm myself, and then I shall return. Breathe in. Anyway, while this certainly can't be the only reason we take so much pride and comfort in hitting those big whole numbers, I think the more important question is how can we change what we take pride in? How can we retrain ourselves to take pride in the little things we accomplish? Like for me, I'm constantly trying to lose weight, but I never feel like I can tell anybody about it until I lose 10 pounds, or at least a number I can round up to 10. And speaking of rounding up, I think I should also mention the fact that I round down to a number divisible by 10 when someone asks how much I weigh. Don't even try, you'll never know. No, seriously, you could torture me, I would never tell you. But why do we feel the need to round our numbers up in the first place? Like, why can't I be proud when I lose 7 or 8 pounds? I think in a lot of ways it comes back to the fact that we think the number goals we hit are directly reflexive of the work we put in, and that's where our pride comes from in the first place. And I think that's why we like to use money so much to measure success, because we feel that the number in the bank account at the end of the day tells not just us, but also all of society just exactly how hard we work, how much we do, or even how smart we are. But I think about trying to hit our goals, be it hitting 20,000 miles, losing 10 pounds, or making $1 million, we forget that it's overcoming those little infinities one by one that are actually what get us there. I mean, you can't hit 20,000 miles without first hitting 19,999, you can't lose 10 pounds without losing 9, and you can't make $1 million without making 999,999 first. This is of course assuming that you, like myself, are only capable of making $1 at a time. We all have goals, or at least I hope we all do, but I think we all need to learn to take pride in what happens in between creating a goal and actually accomplishing it. We all have to remember that we work just as hard for that first mile, that first pound, that first dollar as we do the last. And honestly, though we all have goals, we can never really know what magic number we need to hit before we can get to a place where we really want to be, to a place where we can truly be satisfied. Because I might have started my journey at 19,950 miles, and I may have hit 20,000, but by now I've hit so many other numbers that I never really would have thought of getting to. And sure, I racked up those miles in all different kinds of ways, on all different kinds of roads that took me all different kinds of distances, but every single one of those miles is just as important as the last, because I needed every single one of those miles to get me to where I needed to go. I don't need to round up. I know exactly how far I've gone, and I know exactly how I've gotten to where I am. And I can take pride in that journey because that's where the work was put in, not at the goal, but before it. So sure, be happy when you hit your milestones, but be just as happy as you make your way there. Be just as proud of your first mile as your last, and remember that it's overcoming those little infinities, not the numbers themselves, that will take you to where you want to go. Because for me on this journey, I know it's the highway that will take me the furthest, but it's those little back roads that will take me home. And it's the number that takes me to get there, not the number I want to hit in my head, that actually matters. Because as it turns out, 20,178 miles is exactly how far I needed to go. So when's the last time you accomplished a goal you set for yourself, and how exactly did you do it? Feel free to leave your stories in the comment section down below, because that's what the internet's for, right?